to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just feel like as your eyelids close, that you're releasing any stress, any tension. Breathing in that relaxation and releasing that tension now. That's it, deeper and deeper, relaxed. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a time when you were out in nature. Perhaps a time when it was a sunny, relaxing day. I want you to imagine that you can imagine being back there in that place. Perhaps feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, perhaps a gentle breeze. And I want you to imagine that there is a bed. Now, beds aren't normally outside, so this is an unusual thing to see. But I want you to imagine a magnificent bed. Perhaps the kind of bed that would be used by perhaps royalty or someone with incredible wealth. See this impressive bed outside in nature. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine getting comfortable on this bed, breathing in fresh air, and as you exhale, feeling that you're going deeper and deeper, relaxed. As you make yourself comfortable, feel like your body is just sinking in to this comfortable bed outside in nature. Imagine your head on a pillow, and imagine your arms and legs feeling loose, limp, sinking into the bed. As you breathe in that warm feeling of relaxation, just allow tension to start releasing from your body. First around your eyelids and eyes, that's it. And then around the jaw, and then the neck. Continuing to breathe in that feeling of calm and relaxation. Exhaling tension with every outward breath. That's it. Feeling your neck and shoulders go deeper, relaxed, all the way down your arms into your fingertips. As you breathe in that feeling of relaxation, filling your lungs with a sense of tranquility. And as you exhale, just notice that even the sensation that your internal organs are relaxing. Imagine what it would be like for your heart to relax now, for your lungs to relax now, for your stomach to relax. Even your diaphragm, that muscle responsible every now and then for hiccups, allow that muscle to relax now. Imagine that feeling of relaxation going downwards into your gut. And I want you to imagine your gut as a leaky hose. One of those old garden hoses that perhaps have been left outside in the garden for a whole winter, twisted, knotted, full of holes, that if you were to have water going in through the hose, it would just perhaps not even make it to the end. And I want you to imagine a warm feeling of relaxation going into that gut that you're picturing as a leaky old garden hose, and then updating it to make it a brand new hose with no leaks, no knots, no twists, no turns. Just imagine a shiny brand new hose. And notice that as you do so, if there was any anxiety in your gut before, notice how it starts to disappear as you picture your gut as a shiny brand new hose. And I want you to imagine Imagine that your gut is almost like a second brain, a source of information, intuition. And I want you to imagine, in the same way that if you bought a brand new hose, at least for the first few weeks or months, you would look after it really well. Perhaps winding it up after each time you've used it, making sure that if you see a knot, you unknot it straight away. And I want you to imagine now that as you see your gut as a brand new hose, that you will support it by eating lots of high water content, high fiber food, the kind of food that your gut really likes. And perhaps you will eat the kind of food that has lots of healthy, good bacteria to enable your gut to do what your gut does really well. Not just digesting food, but enabling balance in your body. And as you imagine that taking place, imagine a desire that you want to do good things for your gut so that your gut will do good things for you. And imagine that feeling of relaxation now goes into your legs and all the way down into your toes, making you feel deeper and deeper relaxed. So much so that I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and I want you to imagine what it would be like to fall asleep on that impressive bed outside in nature, still feeling the sun perhaps on your skin, perhaps even smelling a gentle fragrance of nature around you, maybe even feeling that gentle breeze. As we start to count down from 5 to 1, and you will imagine falling asleep on that impressive bed outside. Starting to count 5, feeling a bit drowsy, feeling like your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier. That's it. 4, feeling an inner desire to yawn. You know what yawning feels like. Imagine yawning or seeing someone yawn, because yawns are contagious, and as you see someone yawn, you've got a desire to yawn yourself. That's it. 3, imagining having that yawn and feeling more relaxed, particularly around the shoulders, the neck, and breathing effortlessly deeper. That's it. 2, feeling like you're about to nod off. And 1, imagining what it would be like to fall asleep in a bed out in nature now. That's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. And use the power of your imagination to imagine a very strange dream, a dream where you're able to go inside your body. And perhaps you've seen films where they shrink people down so small that they can imagine going into submarines and actually traveling around the body. And I want you to imagine that you can travel around the body, being microscopically small, that you are now inside your own body. And perhaps you can notice anything that looks out of balance. Because out of balance can mean so many different things. Out of balance could have too much body fat for what you need as your energy reserves. Out of balance could be too much insulin or glycogen in your blood. But also, out of balance could be an immune system that is just too vigilant, too ready to interpret anything as perhaps a threat. And I want you to imagine that you detect these imbalances. And I want you to imagine that somewhere in your body regulates how these things should be. And perhaps you've heard the phrase homeostasis. Homeostasis is the body's desire to keep things as they are. But nothing is as they are until they become that way. And it's only when people get used to things being a certain way that they expect things will always be that way. Until they're not. Because things change over time. As people age, as different events take place in their life, things change. And the power of the mind and the body can do amazing things. People can feel sensations in limbs that no longer exist. Blind people can have vivid dreams where they can memorize things as if they are actually able to see. And I wonder what it would be like to imagine that you have a control room inside your body responsible for ensuring balance. And I want you to visit that control room. And perhaps your imagination will imagine this control room as the deck of a spaceship, or perhaps an air traffic control center, or maybe the kind of control room that they used to have in big ships like the Titanic, with levers and gauges. I don't know how you will imagine this control room to look like, but just imagine that you are there in that control room. And I want you to imagine that there are gauges or dashboards or some visual representation to show the relationship between one thing and another. For example, if you are overweight, you might see that on a gauge, and you might see a nearby gauge showing that your energy levels are low because you have to carry around all that excess weight. Perhaps there is a gauge that shows how active your immune system is. Because if your immune system is almost too active, then your body can look at healthy cells and treat them as if they are infections, if they are things that need to be dealt with and attacked. Now, I don't know how many millions of white blood cells you have in your body, but all you have to do is understand the purpose of a white blood cell. And the purpose of a white blood cell is to keep you healthy and to fight infections and things that could cause disease. But what if these white blood cells are too vigilant? Because in your life you've seen cases where people that are designed to protect can become too aggressive. I don't know if you've seen images of bodyguards, bouncers, security guards or police officers that have somehow lost their way and no longer are protecting, but are actually causing harm through their responsibility. And I wonder what it would be like if you could imagine your white blood cells being overly aggressive, too vigilant, too eager to deal with perceived threats. And I want you to imagine that you are in the control room and you can change that relationship. Imagine there is a dial linked to the vigilance of these white blood cells. And imagine that you can reduce that sensitivity to the level that will enable more harmony, more effective, healthy behavior in your body. Because you wouldn't want that sensitivity too low, because that would be like a lazy security guard that ignores any genuine threats. But equally, if there is a guard dog and it's too vigilant, it can even scare away friendly neighbors. But you already know intuitively what the right balance is. And I want you to imagine that this dial of vigilance is adjusted to the part that your unconscious knows is a sensible balance for you and your body and how you live your life. I want you to make it perhaps to a level that you've experienced when it's been the right level, the proportionate level, so that your body responds to threats proportionate to their potential harm. Not overreacting and not underreacting. I want you to imagine that your immune system becomes almost like Goldilocks from that story with the 3 bears. Why would those white blood cells be too aggressive, too eager to deal with any threat, even if they're not genuine? And equally, those white blood cells wouldn't want to be completely lazy and ineffective, because then you would have no immune system at all. I want your intuition to adjust this control room to enable your white blood cells to be just like Goldilocks' porridge. Just right. And if you can imagine what an immune system that would behave just right would be like, just let me know by nodding your head. And perhaps in this control room, I want you to see a screen that represents your future. And I want you to see that you can imagine a vivid future of what your body will do over the next few days and weeks and months with an immune system that behaves just right. Perhaps you can see yourself with less fatigue, less tiredness. Some of the symptoms perhaps that you've taken for granted as just being something that you're used to perhaps reduces or completely goes away. See how your body reacts when your immune system is working in harmony with your body rather than overreacting or underreacting. When you see your immune system working in harmony with your body, notice that there is an increased desire to do good things for your body, to think good thoughts, to eat nutritious food, to drink more water. And if you're willing to do your part by giving your body what your body needs, your body could respond by doing its part and behaving proportionately to the level of threat or infection that it actually needs to deal with. And if you're happy to work in partnership with your body, in harmony with your body, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And notice that the more in harmony with your body that you work, the more your body will want to behave and act in a way that helps you. Because too many people are fighting with their body. They want to be healthy, and yet they consume food filled with sugar and salt and processed additives. But perhaps by giving your body all those essential nutrients, you can enable the cells to behave the way that the cells want to behave. And cells, and in fact your whole body, is made up largely of water. And I want you to notice that the more that you eat foods that are high in water, the more your body will work in harmony with you. And there are 3 main foods that are high in water: salads, vegetables, and fruits. And on that screen, I want you to imagine that you can see yourself, not because you have to, but because you want to, eating more of those salads, vegetables, and fruits, those green carbohydrates filled with micronutrients, giving your cells exactly what they need. And the more you give your cells what they need, the more your cells will give you what you need. And the more harmony there is in your body, the more those white blood cells in your immune system will behave proportionately to any level of threat or infection that's genuinely in your body. Because for some people, the immune system works against them. But for most people, the immune system works for them. And I want you to accept the suggestion that as you give your body what it needs, your body will give you what you need. And if you accept that suggestion to be true, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. See on that screen how those days, those weeks, those months turn into years, and the more you give your body what it needs, the more it gives you what you need, and what you need is optimum health. And from this point forward, health won't mean the absence of disease. Health will mean increasing your body's ability to have well-being, energy, vitality, strength. And as you raise your standards about what health and well-being means to you, the more you will support that decision with good choices in your life. How much water you drink, how much salads, vegetables and fruits you eat, how much exercise you take, and how much you get out in nature breathing fresh, clean air. And I want you to imagine that this is just a dream within a dream, and actually you can imagine being on a comfortable bed out in nature, breathing that fresh air. But I want you to imagine that you awaken in the future, when your body is already in harmony, when the cells are working for you and with you rather than against you, when you've already got used to eating the kinds of foods that your body needs, supporting your body with great choices. Imagine that it's perhaps a year in the future and your body has already made the adjustments that need to be made. That now your white blood cells, your immune system, aren't too aggressive and too protective, but equally they're not doing anything other than being balanced and aligned with what you need. Just like Goldilocks' porridge, they are just right. Just what you need to mean that you've got the fine line between health, well-being, and vitality. And then imagine that you're not actually on a bed in nature, but actually you're exactly where you are right now, listening to my voice. And in a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken full of energy, vitality, noticing perhaps an immediate change in how you feel, a reduction in fatigue and an increase in energy and strength, perhaps even clarity of mind. You will awaken full of optimism, eager to support your body's cells in the journey that they want you to go on. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.